All right, going live in three, two, one. Well, this is Layers of Beauty, episode number 7. Is that right? We're up to number
Yes,
7.
episode 7, guys.
Yes.
Can you
So we're
believe
getting
it?
up to, yeah, we're moving along here. so, so how are you doing this evening? Or wherever you are? I know you and you're in the afternoon. I'm technically in the evening. Is that right?
Yes, it's 5:15 p.m. Pacific time here, and we still got some sun going on. And I heard you guys are having some flooding and or storm.
Yeah. As we were talking
How's
before we went
that
on.
going?
Yeah, a hurricane, tropical storm Ida moved through, and the it's not too much as far as where I'm at. It was not too bad, but there were some areas where there was some flooding. But the hardest hit was like I was telling you before we started was in New York City, which got really hit hard. New Jersey, New York, flooding all over the place. It got so bad that one of the stations that does I do service for, the house that they have the computer in got flooded, and so they can't even take reports anymore. So, and I saw pictures. I should should have brought some pictures up. Maybe I can bring some of those up. Where the basically the water level is like outside some of these houses is like a couple of feet. So you have to walk around. It's like the basements are completely flooded and with full of water. There's no way they can even go down in the basement because it's all water at that point. So that would be terrifying for me. But as I told you, my house is on the top of a large hill, so I'm pretty safe. I It's very virtually impossible for me to get that much flooding where I'm at. So
Well, that's good. I mean, it comes handy in some way because so many people think if you have your house that far, it must take you so long to get anywhere, right? But and
um,
in that case, you're safe.
yeah, the hill is actually it's a very small hill, so it's not like a big. It's like
Oh,
yeah. It's so the hill is it's about maybe a tenth of a mile to get down, so it's not very long. It's not a tenth of a mile is like I'm not sure about kilometers how much that would be, but it's not very 1/10 of 1 mile. So it's very I can walk down the hill every day to get my mail because my mailbox is at the bottom of the hill, so it's not
oh,
too
really? That's
yeah.
such a good exercise. Did you do that on purpose to just
No,
get that exercise going, or it just happened?
it just happened. The house was okay. I liked it, but after I bought it, it was like it's kind of yeah, it does create a little bit of a workout because I also have to walk my trash cans down like every Wednesday night because the trash day is on Thursday today.
Oh,
So I have to wheel them
okay.
down. So and that's a little bit of an exercise because I have to carefully so they don't tip over as I'm walking down the hill with them. So they have little wheels at the bottom of them. But yeah, it's definitely a little bit of a workout.
That's good. At least you get your workout done for your dropping the trash and checking your mailbox.
Yeah, yeah.
Those two. And I think anything else, you just take the car, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Well, I get a lot of stuff delivered to my house, so I don't really have to drive my car that much anymore. In fact,
Yeah.
I have to fix something on my car because it's drivable, but unfortunately, it's making a loud noise. So I got to fix that soon. So I've just been meaning. I've been putting that on hold for a little while. But yeah, as far as like
Yeah.
driving, when I was working, yeah, I would drive on a regular. I had a job. I mean, outside of my home, I would drive a lot, so to go places. But it's been they've developed this thing where they deliver food to my house now. Like they have local food gets like they shop for me at the supermarket, so I don't have to go to the supermarket anymore.
Oh,
They made it real
they don't
late.
have like DoorDash or Uber Eat
No,
around
this
there?
it's called Instacart. Instacart.
Oh, Instacarts. Is
Yeah,
it like anything to do with the Instagram? Is it from the comp or is just the name similar to it?
I don't know. It's interesting that you say that. I don't think it is, but I know when I go to their website and I type in Instacart, Instagram starts to pop up when I'm looking for it. But I don't think they're related. I could be wrong though. Maybe they are. It's very possible that they are.
I
But
never heard of it. Oh, interesting.
yeah, the other ones I've not. I don't know if I'm not sure if the other ones that you mentioned, what were they? Or what you said,
Uber
Uber?
Eats and DoorDash. Those are the ones that we have in Vancouver.
Oh, okay. They're probably spreading across, different parts of the, countries and
Mhm.
everything. Eventually, you may see that what I'm seeing, and I'll see what you're seeing. I'm sure they'll probably spread out. And when I was younger, I used to work for one of those companies. This is before the internet, though. So I would actually go around delivering food to people. Like it was called it was called takeout taxi, and we would actually pick up the food at our local restaurant and then drive it over to the person's home. And because we didn't have internet, what we would do is we had two-way radios in our car. So we'd like almost like a CB radio. We'd talk on these little handheld radios to each other. To coordinate with it.
That is so cool. So there was such a thing back then that for like when someone ordered a food, there was a third party service that you go and pick up the food from other restaurants and you deliver.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was definitely a third party. Yeah, the company was we had agreements with these different restaurants. We did not do supermarkets though. So we just did usually restaurants that were nice restaurants, meaning not like McDonald's or anything like that. So we never picked up there. But yeah, we had agreements with a lot of local restaurants, and we have to go into the restaurant, sit there and wait till they bring the food out, and then we
same as DoorDash then. So how come they never become big as DoorDash? Because they were the premier, or not DoorDash, like Uber Eats or these big companies.
Probably because the internet didn't exist yet. I mean, not really. So I mean, everything was done over the phone. So if it was the internet would existed, they probably would have still be around. But they don't exist anymore. I looked it up about a year ago, and they seem to have disappeared. So they changed their name. Maybe they changed their name to something else and got absorbed by another company for all I know.
Yeah, it could be. So. Wow, that's that. You know what? I mean, it's really good, in my opinion. It's really good system to have that convenience to get stuff delivered to you. But on the downhill side of that is it's very dangerous. Sometimes I find myself just ordering, and I actually gained a couple of pounds because of that. Because I'm not going out, I'm not getting exercise, I'm just home, and I'm looking at, and it's so dangerous. I'm looking at my phone with all these yummy food, the pictures looking great, and you just order. Click away. But if there was no internet, you had to dress up, walk down. I mean, yeah, you could get food delivered, but not a lot of places had that option, right?
Right. So I think the company I was doing, I only did it for like a few months. I'd got an internship at two different radio stations at the time. So I only did it from like, I would say like maybe a month or two at the most. And then I stopped doing it because the stations hired me on. So I didn't have to have a job working outside of there. So I was actually working for the radio stations at that point.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that's great. I mean, it's such a cool memory though, to be able to work in that even if for a short period of time, and then years later seeing all these big companies are merging through internet.
It was the interesting thing was the office was kind of dingy and nasty looking. So we'd drive in to when you had to basically where they ran the operation. And I do remember the guy who was running the dispatch on the two-way radio. I remember him saying a few times how he hated his life. He hated life and all this. I was like, oh, so he really didn't. He wasn't unfriendly. He was just depressed all the time because he couldn't stand his job. So I felt kind of sorry.
I think we find those people in any job department. There's always that one or two person or people that just don't like what they do.
Yeah. And I don't know whatever happened to the guy, but he was definitely depressed. He just didn't like what he was doing. And that was like before I did that, I actually made deliveries as a courier, which was kind of similar. Instead of food, it was like boxes and things for local businesses. I pick him up in my car and drive him around. And I had another guy that was kind of like that. He was just angry all the time. He'd send out dispatch. And he was always, and I called him. I didn't call him anything. One of the other people that was working there, I said he was kind of grumpy or something. And the other guy started laughing when I said that because he agreed. He was kind of grumpy all the time. So.
Yeah, I had a lot of grumpy people too in where I used to work and throughout my different job experiences. There's always grumpy ones and there's always very nice ones, different characters. But I think with job deliveries that you would see more people because, I don't know, was it fun for you? It must be kind of.
It was okay. It wasn't bad. I mean, I did it 3 days a week at the time. So, but I was working, my focus was the radio stuff. So, and my body was a little bit more in better shape back then. So I was a little more physically able to do the things. Nowadays, my body's not as not as I've got some little some minor health issues I got to take care of that makes my body a little weaker than it used to be, and so I don't know if I'd be able to do it like I did back then. So, but back, it was okay. It was okay. So,
Yeah, I guess if you do it for a long time, you become grumpy too.
Hey,
I don't know. I don't want to like disrespect people in job delivery service. I guess you just have to be in what you love, right? Whatever makes you happy.
yeah, I do talk to the people that deliver the food to my house. The woman the other day, she was sending me messages and talking to me while she was picking up her food, my food, because she had delivered to my house before, and I was getting chickens, and she asked me why I was getting I ordered 6 chickens so I could have like enough for the week, and she was asking me why do I get so many chickens, and so we were talking back and forth. She had little smiley faces on the texting that she was doing, so she was being friendly about it. She definitely, most of the people that I've seen that do the food delivery are pretty friendly. Once in a while, I see someone that's just doesn't really care. I can tell they don't like what they're doing. So
Yeah, I think from my experience too, most of them are very friendly. I don't know if I don't know. I guess it depends. You're right. Depends on your personality or what
and
you're going through in life. It all depends. There's so many variables.
and the other thing that's kind of strange, I found interesting, is most of them drive really nice cars. So I'm like, when when I was delivering my packages, when I was doing my food delivery and stuff, I had my car did not look was not that nice. I was these look like really nice, like Mercedes Benzes I've seen a few times.
Oh,
And I'm like, driving up to deliver food, and none of them they're all very new. None of them are old at all. So it's like really interesting. Um,
I guess because it's kind of your own business now. With even Uber, sometimes I remember I sat down in a Range Rover one time, and Range Rover is like a very like high end car, and it was just very. It wasn't even an old Range; it was a new one,
right,
and I was like, okay. And most of these people are, I think all of them, you have to own the car because it's your own business, right? It's
right,
same
right.
as delivery. But in Vancouver, I think Vancouver is more a very health oriented place. People bike all the time. So most of our door dashes or delivery people are in biking. Sometimes I'm wondering like how could they bike with all those heavy deliveries at the back?
Yeah,
I
I
can't
know.
even go like biking like around. Like I mean, I'm not bad in biking, but I don't think I can do that all day doing
Yeah,
delivery.
no, no, I agree. I agree. Yeah, I do. When I was a kid, I had a paper route, and I would get I had a bike. Sometimes I'd use a bike, but most of the time I'd push the newspapers around in a shopping cart. I'd walk around with a big shopping cart and push all my papers around and deliver the papers that way. But sometimes I'd ride on a bike, and the most I could get was like maybe 10 newspapers. And I'd ride the bike, and I have to go back home, get the rest of the newspapers. So I can only do so many at a time.
Oh, so you were in newspaper delivery too, a newspaper boy.
Yeah, but if I was a kid, I was like 10 years
Oh,
old. And so
oh, I know. Like I think most kids did that. How much was the pay? Like how much did they pay you
I was
as a
like
kid?
about $100 a month. Is that so?
Oh, that is so cute. But I think for like a kid, $100 a month is a lot of money.
Yeah,
'Cause,
yeah.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
So, what would you
Yeah,
like to
well,
check out?
you did a lot of jobs in delivery area, so you must be
Oh,
really good in delivering.
yeah,
Um,
and also, yeah, and it helped a lot when I was when I got to be I got to be a traffic reporter, and I do that right now. So it helped me because I was a delivery person for a while. I know the roads better than a lot of other people that do the traffic stuff. So
yeah,
because I actually drove on the roads versus the other people would just read off of a map. So that helped a lot. So.
and now GPS.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. GPS. Yeah, when I first started doing the traffic reports, only one person. I used to fly in a plane, and one of the only I was a passenger. There would be a pilot. It was a Cessna 172, and only one of the pilots had GPS at the time. Nobody else did, and it was like everyone was like oohing and awing. They thought it was so cool that he had this GPS because no one else had it at the time. And so he would fly around with the GPS on the windshield of the plane while we're flying around. And nowadays everybody has it. So it was pretty funny back then. Hardly anyone had it, and now everyone has it. So
That is so cool when you say from your experience of being a news traffic reporter, right? Is that and then you were flying?
yes,
That must be so cool. I'm always thinking like people who report traffic, it must be such an experience, interesting experience, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
you're alive, but then you also see what's going on in the city.
Yes. And at the time, this is before the September 11th attacks of 2001. I was flying back in so we could actually fly right over DC. You can't do that anymore.
Really?
Yeah, so we used to fly right next to the White House. We can't do that anymore, but back then we could see the White House right over the Capitol and everything. It was really cool. And then we'd and then after the attacks took place, they said that no small planes were allowed within that area anymore. So they were just they got over secured at that point. So, but
What about helicopters?
yeah, they still, I think there were when I was flying on average, there were at least 3 helicopters out every morning. I never flew in a helicopter though. I always flew in a fixed wing aircraft. The helicopter,
Oh, okay. So from the aircraft, you would have to like be live and report the traffic. Is that
yes,
how it worked? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it was radio only. You couldn't see my face. So just like now, you can't see my face now. You
Yeah,
couldn't
yeah,
see.
of course.
Yeah, so
Um, I I always, I mean, I know we're doing this show live, but I'm pretty sure it's a different experience in radio when you are especially given traffic news. You have to be very controlled. You need to have a very um, high self-esteem. You have a lot of experience to do that.
oh,
I don't know.
I will say this: I didn't have any experience doing the. I had experience with the traffic because I was a delivery person, but I had not done any on-air traffic reports. So they were willing to train me at the time, which was really nice of them. So they got me up there. They put me in the plane, and I also do reports out of the studio as well. So yeah, so they were very nice to train me. So they didn't have to do that, but they did, which was really nice of them. And
But you
that's how.
must have been nervous too, right? Like
Oh
that
yeah.
to
Oh,
be able.
very. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I keep on cutting you off. Go ahead.
No, 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 no. I was just saying you must be nervous as well. But again, you're good at it because right now you're also very good and you're in control, and it's something you have naturally in
Oh,
you.
oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, yeah. It took a little bit of time though, because when I first started, I was definitely very nervous. So, and you could hear it in my voice back then. Here's an image of this is what I used to fly in, a plane that looks like these.
Oh, wow.
So very small.
What an exciting experience.
Yeah,
And
it's
then you
almost.
used to do that every day?
I did it I always did it like 1 or 2 times a day. Sometimes a week. I mean, sometimes I do it 5 days in a week. It wasn't consistent every day because there were 3 of us. So I would be like I was the primary backup. So they had the 2 primaries. I was the backup. So whenever one of the 2 primaries, and they were always taking off. So I always flew at least once or twice a week. And once in a while, the other 2 would take off. So I'd fly for an entire week. So
Wow. I would
and
love to do that. That must be so cool.
the it with the if I'm trying to if I'm trying it's hard to see, but you can actually there's 2 people. The pilot would be on one side and I'd be on the other side, and you could actually put people in the back if they were tiny. They have to be very small people. You couldn't have large people in the back. It was just so small. So
Um, so I just wanted to see like how does that work? So where do you get your information? Because you're sitting in this plane and you're delivering the actual live news. So are you just saying it as you go, or someone is preparing that for
oh no,
you?
I would actually be looking out the plane and looking at the roads below and seeing where the delays. So I'd actually look down outside, and we flew at about I think we flew at about 4,000 feet. I can't remember. I forget how high we were exactly. I should know, but I don't remember.
Oh
But
my God, wow.
so I mean, you have to look down the roads, and you actually know what. It's since I was very familiar with looking at them. I used to look at aerial photos a lot when I was a kid, so I was already comfortable with looking at it to begin with. So it wasn't a big deal. But if a lot of people were it would throw them off because they weren't used to looking at the roads from so high up. So, but yeah, I would just look out the window and I just give my reports, and I had a little headset on, and they would come to me and they go, "Let's go to Rick Dixon or on Skyhawk 630 or whatever plane I was flying in that day," and I give my report. So the station I did when I was on was WMAL in DC, which is still around. I don't think they have airborne reporters anymore. Since over the past 15 years, what they've done is they've made it so that they gather the data from people's cell phones. I don't know if you know this, but when you're driving your car, they actually monitor how fast you're going by everyone's cell phone, and they use that to calculate how fast everyone's going. So you don't really need to have someone in the plane anymore. So they got rid of. So the only time you might see helicopters, because helicopters can fly stationary and give you like a beauty shot or like of something that would look very that would be eye grabbing for a TV show or something, for a morning news show. But as far as fixed wing aircraft like this, they don't use those anymore, as far as I know. I don't think they need them anymore. So
sorry, you mentioned something about how, like, using your mobile, the data on your mobile to track how fast you're going.
Right.
Is that also can apply to giving ticket, like speeding ticket?
No, it's not. That'd be funny. No, they don't do that.
I'm should I be careful?
What they do is
I don't drive that fast, but it was just kind of like
what they do is they gathered everybody's cell phone. So if you have hundreds of cars out on the road, they're getting hundreds of people at one time. So they're using that and seeing how hundreds of people are going, and then what they do is they can calculate the speed for like several roadways.
Wow, that is crazy.
They've been doing that for at least 15 years now. So I when I first heard about it, I thought that was like it's almost intrusive, because they're kind of getting your data, kind of, and I don't really like it, but that's nothing you can do about it.
I think we're past that point now. We're past that point. Like, our data is being on somewhere for a long time. I mean, we're not safe. Like, not that I'm saying that there's someone is there out to get us. That's another topic. It's kind of like, but it's just, there's no way around it. As long as you have one of these, you're tracked.
Yeah. I the only reason I have one is for the data. So like, if my internet drops down, I can hook my computer up to the internet, through like a Wi-Fi connection.
It's almost like you can't really not have it, because it's our survival mode right now for everything, for work, for anything, right?
I guess I'm not as dependent on most people as most people are. And I'm dependent on my computers for sure, but the phones not so much. I don't use the phones that much. They're just laying around. As if something like if the internet goes down, then I'm ready to go through there. If I have to deposit a check, I have to use one of them, because my banks all shut down, which is really annoying. All my banks shut down about a year and a half ago, so I can't go to a local bank anymore. I have to deposit my checks using my, which is annoying. Well, it's good. It's not. Well, it's good in the sense I don't have to go to the bank, but it's annoying because there are no banks. so it's like, if I have to go to a bank, I have to go like about a half hour away, which is that's where it gets annoying, because
it's kind of. I remember when I used to work in the banking, towards the end of it, the strategy of the banks, in order for them to survive, was to have everything electronically. So, and for that reason, they were not hiring any more customer service or tellers or any in person, in terms of jobs. So I remember me being back then working in a teller, like many years ago, used to advise me, you should go in the line, talk to the client and tell them, let me help you, take you to the machine and teach them. So their strategy was to get rid of the human forces within the banking, and only rely on the machines, because otherwise they would have been bankrupt, and that was their prediction. And I think they were right in so many ways, that some of the banks went online and they closed down.
Yeah. It's annoying though. I know what you're saying, but it's still annoying, because it's like, now everything has to be done online. Unless it's something, if I need to get something done that can't be done online, then I have to drive a real long distance just to get to one.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for sure. I think there's always pros and cons in everything, right? There's some aspects, like in person. I mean, I like in person, but for convenience, sometimes I like online, because I just don't want to go in the branch, or I don't want to go in person. So it's good that we have that convenience. But in my opinion, it's getting too much in some areas.
I agree. I do agree with that. So, what would you like to check our question from last week?
Sure. And then I'm so excited if we go back, go start our new topic of the day. It's very
Oh,
exciting.
okay. Yeah, let's the question first, and we can add that afterwards. So, okay. So, does beauty affect the salary at work or getting the job? Overwhelmingly, 81%. That's pretty high. Said yes. Wow. Next down, 8% with no, 6% with I don't care, and 4% with somewhat. They've so they
Sorry,
do.
wasn't only 8% who said no?
Yeah, only 8%.
Oh my God, what are this? What are we living in? Are we that superficial? But it's reality, I guess.
Well, this is hardly scientific, so I wouldn't say. I mean, we got 1,800 votes, and this is just a random survey of people out there. So I wouldn't
Yeah,
say this. I wouldn't say this is scientific in any way. But it's mostly people that are watching our videos, but some people that are not. So sometimes YouTube throws these out at random people. So who knows who's aside from my viewers? Who knows who else might be answering these? So
yeah.
let's see. We're
Was there a
looking.
comment you wanted to read?
Yeah. Oh, is this one right down here? Being she I can't remember India. She says being a girl working in a garage, nah, she says.
Sorry, what's that? Oh,
So, right, it says this one right here, being a girl working in a garage, she says, nah, it doesn't. So I thought that was kind of interesting with that. So I guess she works in a garage. I wonder what she means by garage. Does it mean like a place where you work on cars, or a garage where they store vehicles? I'm just curious. I
yeah,
assume
it's very vague.
Yeah, I assume it means a garage where they do repair work, but I'm not sure. So, but yeah, I can't imagine. Yeah, I don't. I would think that if you're a woman working in a garage, it probably wouldn't. It probably wouldn't affect your pay at all. I mean, you probably get the same, or maybe even less in that
Less,
situation.
yeah, even less. You're right.
Hmm. So let's see. And when I used long ago when I first got out of high school, I used to work on cars. So I worked in a couple of different garages, and
Oh, really? Hmm.
I never once, and this is not a slight against women at all, but I never once saw a woman ever working in a garage, except for like the person who like was the cashier, or like the
Yeah, yeah.
but I never saw a woman work on cars.
Mhm.
I'm not saying they don't exist, but they're extremely rare, at least where I'm at. I don't, it's not something that most women want to do. I think it's more of a man thing at that point.
Yeah.
Um, if you go on YouTube, there is a woman on. I was interested. I found a woman on YouTube that actually she owns her own shop and she does repair work, which is kind of interesting. It really stood out because I wasn't used to seeing that. But
Yeah, now it's trending. A lot of profession that used to be only for men, women are getting even better at it right now.
yeah, but I don't think mechanic. I don't think working on cars is going to be one of them. Too dirty. I don't think. I don't. I. I
Oh, I
used to,
saw a plumber, a woman in plumbing, and they were doing really well.
oh, okay. Well, that's probably not as dirty though. That's. I'm guessing. I'm just guessing that most. Would you want to work in a job where you're getting dirty all the time? I mean, that's basically what you're doing. You're going to be grimy, and you have your hands are always going to have. It's always going to be like little dirty spots on your hand all the time. Even to wash them, it takes forever to get everything
Does that
out.
mean that only men can? It's okay for men to have dirt on their face, but it's not okay for women?
No, no, I'm saying that I think that most women just don't want to deal with that. Is what I'm saying. That's I don't
Oh,
think I don't. It's because the grime is really annoying. It can be really, and I got
yeah,
annoyed by it. That's
yeah,
what I mean.
yeah,
I don't think a woman couldn't do it. I'm just saying is that I don't think a lot of women they don't. I don't think they would want to have the dirty aspect. It gets really dirty.
yeah, yeah.
That's
I got what you mean.
yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah. I guess it's like, I mean, who wants to get dirty anyway? It's not a really fun job,
Right, right, right.
but
So
it's
that's what,
it's it's rewarding for some people, I guess, to be able to fix something.
yeah, yeah. And I could see, and based on that, I would say I would think that maybe a woman would want with plumbing. I could see maybe carpentry because you're not getting dirty in those jobs as
Yeah.
well. Plumbing you
Well,
might.
with plumbing, you never know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But not as much as working on cars. Okay. Let's see. We'll go for the very one. It even determines respect. Hmm.
Sorry, what
Interesting.
was that?
The response is it even determines respect.
You mean like the beauty determines respect?
Um,
Is that
I
what you
guess,
mean?
I guess I'm not sure what it means. I was going to ask you what you thought it meant. So
That's what I got from that.
okay. If humans, yes. Oh, if human. That's what it says. If humans, yes.
What? What does
I don't
that
know.
even mean?
I'm not sure.
Are we talking about non-humans?
I Kiss Best fan who contributes on a regular basis says definitely experienced this too many times. Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Roy 316 is another regular contributor. Says yes, but I will say not affect the salary too much, but it helps to get the job quickly. Hmm. Okay. I could see that. Maybe. It depends. We discussed that last week, though. So I think
Yeah, we discussed it.
yeah. So, um, Lone Ranger says yes, a pair of breasts has more of a chance to get a job than a flat chest. Mm, that's the same kind of thing. I don't know. I mean, it depends. If it was a job like, say, getting a job at Hooters, yeah, I would think so. Um, but if we're talking like
That's funny.
if we get it was a job at a regular, like an office job, you're gonna need to have the knowledge to do the job too. So it's gonna be more than that. But yeah.
I think it's at the end of the day, it's who's hiring too.
Mhm.
If the woman, because women are now are you see women in more executive positions, and if the hiring person, like the person who's hiring, is a woman, unless they are obviously, um, yeah, they have a different sexual orientation, then it would be not the same rule apply to that.
Oh, well, I mean, you talk about like a human resources officer or director. You
No, no, just like someone that is hiring, like as a boss,
oh,
because
okay.
that's like you could be a boss. Or you're right, because hiring is not only like man hiring, right?
Mhm.
If a female hiring a female, um, I don't think for them a big breast matters. Like
Oh,
if I am having a company and I'm hiring a woman,
oh, I
I
see what you're
wouldn't
saying.
really care about that.
I see what you're saying. I misunderstood what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I get what you're saying. Yeah, so it wouldn't affect the person at all unless they were. Yeah, I get you. So most likely, you're saying a man. It might influence a man, maybe, but if it was a woman, if it was a man doing the hiring, it might influence his decision. But if it was a woman doing the hiring, you're saying it most likely wouldn't. Is what you're saying.
But again, what if a woman is hiring a man
That's a good
who's more
question.
good looking? So I
That's
guess I don't know. It depends.
That's a good point. If I didn't think about that. That very well could be. It could be in a so let's see. Let's see. Go down here. I don't know if I'm Sandeep Mohanar, he leaves very long ones. I'm not sure if I want to read the whole thing. But let me see. We got yes. Yes, however, it depends on the sector and a larger impact on women than it has on men. Okay.
Yeah, fair. I would say
Um,
that's what we talked about last week as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna skip past this one only because it's so long. I just want we can go ahead. If Sandeep always leaves good comments, but for this one it's a little too long, and I don't want to drag this one on a little. So we'll
Yeah, we
go ahead.
already talked about it last week too. So
Okay, cool. All
um,
righty. So we had a question for this week. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up. Did you want to talk about that?
yeah, so this is catering more towards our male audience. I mean, I have been having these topics and creating these topics, and I felt like it was mostly towards women. But today I wanted to talk about the issues that men have in terms of their body images, their physical appearances, and how society, especially Hollywood media, by creating some realistic or maybe unrealistic images, can have effect on men. And because I don't really haven't experienced that, like I experienced the pressure as a woman, it's good to take to dig down a little bit further on that topic. And I went through some of the articles because I was interested to see what is out there about that, and it was very interesting that one of them, if you want to maybe bring the one about how images of the man change over the 100 years, like the standards image of man.
Well, let's ask the question first, and then we can go to those articles. So,
oh my God, I'm getting ahead of me. Okay, that's what you hear to manage that. Okay, so the question of the day is, okay, let me just found it. I just wanna, or if you have it.
Yeah, is Hollywood or the media? I was changing the wording around a little bit for what I put from what you said. Is Hollywood or the media setting up unrealistic
Oh, it
expectations
is, yeah.
for physical appearances? So yeah, I slightly reworded what you said, but it still says the same thing. So yeah, is Hollywood or the media setting up unrealistic expectations for men's physical appearances? So you want to do yes, no, and then what was the third? You gave me a third option before. I couldn't remember what it was.
Maybe, and then you can say, we can maybe, and then put your comments.
Okay. Like that?
Yeah, I was thinking to maybe like next time we do a little bit different, to do very much, a little, maybe like not that, like, do you know what I mean? Like those answers that they have different levels of yes and no's, because there's always like yes, no.
Yeah,
What do you think of that?
What do you want to put? Something different? What do you want to put? We can put anything you want. It's
Okay,
it's not,
so how about this time we put very much, like that would be duh, yes. Um, um, and then second, we will put somehow.
somewhat. How about somewhat?
Somewhat, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And the third one, we'll put not at all.
Okay. Okay.
Or not that much, or something like that.
Somewhat. That would be the same as somewhat.
Yeah.
Then. So it's not that much would be the same as somewhat. So.
Okay, so then it would be very much, somehow.
We could just tell them. How about we just tell them to leave a comment?
Leave a comment. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see how they said. To explain.
Oh, what about not at all?
Yeah, we got that in there. It's a third.
Oh, we got that. Okay. Sorry, I just couldn't see it. It's too small for me there.
Oh. Let's see. I'll leave a comment to explain. I'd rather. How about I'll do this? I'd rather leave a comment to explain, so it makes more sense.
Perfect.
I'd rather leave a comment to explain my. There we go. Oh, there we go. Okay.
So
I'm going to go ahead and post that. You ready?
Yes, let's do it.
There we go. All right. So we'll come back to that one in a little bit, see how it's going. Okay. Now we can jump back to what you were saying. You were saying I can bring up those articles. Oops. Let me bring this down for a second. There we go. Okay. So go ahead and talk about what you were talking about before.
Oh, okay. So, so I looked at two articles, and one of them is very interesting. If we bring that up in the screen, the first article that talks about the last 100 years, how image of like beauty standards of men has changed over the past 10 years. And it goes further and it talks about each decade with pictures. So in 1900, how that time it was more about wrestlers and strong men. Yes, that's where.
Yeah.
So that was the, I think, the beauty image of back then. And then we go to 1910s. like
1910.
in 10 years later, more sophisticated. I think it was like pure elegance. See the change is like completely different. It was more fashionable. It was more about elegancy. And then 1920s, it was about this sleek hair, languishing look. So
Well,
that was like gel. That's when invented. It's like
is that
more.
is that because of the movies? Because movies were becoming more popular, and, and talking movies were that's when movies with sound were really taking off. Is that
Yeah,
something to
that's
do with
right.
it?
It was a silence. Was it 1920s a silence era, or was it
Yeah.
1910?
I think it would last into the 1920s.
Yeah,
And by the 1930s, they definitely had sound by then. So
and then in my favorite is actually 1930s. Sexy mustaches. He's actually one of my favorite actors. Gone with the Wind.
oh
I
yes,
remember that. He
uh,
was very famous back in the day, and so apparently mustaches were a sign of masculinity back then.
hmm.
In a lot of movies, you can see 1930s. And
I
then we
would
go.
I would have
Yeah,
to
go
say,
ahead. No,
hold
go
on.
ahead.
I would say except for one person for the 1930s. Hold on. Hold on. I'll let you make a decision when I bring him up here. Hold on. Okay, here we go. How about this mustache right here?
Is it Charlie Chaplin? Oh no,
No,
no, no. Okay, this is too much. That's nothing have to do. This is too much. I don't think that was considered sexy back in 1930s.
there was that's Groucho Marx, by the way, in case you're wondering. And by the way, it's not a real mustache. He just painted that onto his face.
See,
So
that's what, he was a comedian, right?
yes, he was part
Oh,
of
there
the.
you go. It was more comedic look than sexy.
Okay.
But that's funny though. I think the mustache of 1930s was more thin, if I'm not mistaken, from the look of it.
Well, at least from that one picture, yeah. How about, can we look? Would you want? Can we look at the? Let me do a search real quick.
Sure.
Okay, let me see. I'm curious about that now because I'm. Let me see what we come up with. There we go. According to a general Google search, and Groucho Marx comes up again. This is kind of funny. Bring this back down. Yeah, it looks. Some of them are thin. Here's a guy with a thin one. I'm not sure what that is. Then we got really big ones right here.
Is this 1930s?
That might not be. I'm
I
not
don't think
sure.
that's 1930s. I think this is early 1900. The one
Okay.
that we saw early, on top, the elegance, and that
Yeah.
looks more like 1910s.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, so that's probably what. Yeah, for some reason it's not. It's that's not give. It's yeah. I typed in 1930s at the top, so I was just going by what I did. So here's what's his name? Oh, I forget his name now. Blah, 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 blah. He's famous actor. I just can't remember his name now. But yeah, he's got like a pretty thin mustache. Here's another one. It's never interesting. I never. That's too old right there. There's another one. Yeah, I never. Here's another famous one. I can't remember his name. The pencil mustache. That's what they call it. The pencil mustache. So yeah, okay, that's interesting. Okay, so we
That
got.
is very, but I think, you know what? When I'm thinking about it, oh, it looks really nice. Mustache. I mean, the audience, like the people who are watching, they can also let us know. What do you think of these looks? I feel like this 1930s was really nice, but then maybe we can ask which one were the favorites.
Oh yeah,
1940s,
19.
military masculinity. I can see that because 1940s was the decade of World War II, and it was a military. A lot of men were in military uniforms, so
Yeah.
I
Well.
think it became then a part of the uniform or some sort of like a masculinity, right?
Hmm.
Principal image of man during World War One. So no mustaches after that. And then we go to 1950s, famous Elvis Presley. Very, very open sexuality. I don't know what that means when they put that.
Well, when he
It,
was
it was a year of rock and roll.
Yeah, when he became popular, he would do a lot of dance moves that were considered very sexual in nature at the time, even though it's not.
Oh, got it, got it.
The,
That's what they call him that.
yeah, but nowadays it wouldn't be considered that sexual. But back then it was nothing. People weren't doing that, so it became across as very sexual in nature. So and
So I think it's more like a rock and roll style, free, like dancing, being free was more like a man way of being attractive in
yeah,
1950s.
yeah. And what I remember was the term gyrate his hips. He would gyrate his hips is the term.
Yeah, I remember his moves. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. He was very good looking, and I still think he's really good looking for this era too.
Well,
But for 1950s, wow.
yeah, but by the 1970s, he had deteriorated really badly. He was
Oh
under,
yeah, I remember he gained a lot of weight and
yeah,
yeah.
he didn't maintain himself very well. So, but
Mhm.
yeah, early on he looked fine, but yeah, later on he was not too good. So, what's the next one down to Rebellious Spirit? Is that also the 1950s? I think it
That's
is.
60s, I think. Is it that? No, 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 no. That's 1950s. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know this man. Do you know him?
What's his name? Where's the name at? Let me bring it up.
Marlon Brando, of course.
Yes.
I just didn't see him when he was young.
Yeah.
I can't believe I never seen. I look at this guy. I was like, ooh, he's really good looking. And I have a picture of Marlon Brando in Godfather movie. Not this is a young Marlon Brando. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
He
Before he
was
put
good
on,
looking.
yeah.
Leather jacket. Um, I think 1960s outrageous sexuality. What does that mean?
Well, that's when during the 50s there was a lot of repression of sexuality, so people would not openly show sexually express themselves.
Oh,
No, during the 60s, beginning with like people like Elvis Presley and other people, the idea of expressing yourself more in a sexual way became very prominent. Like the mini dresses and things like that. That was a way that mini skirts, women. That was the way women would express themselves in a more sexual way, and it was very.
yeah.
They're very liberating from being from one decade to the next. It was very repressive to very being open about your sexuality. So that's what it was all about. So,
Oh, I remember Alan Dolan. Alan Dolan was a French actor, was he? He was a French actor. He was a symbol of male beauty in 1960s.
it looks like the early 60s because the later 60s were a little different because 60s got divided into two parts. You have the first half, which is really different than the second half. The second half is more what's the word I'm looking for? Loud, like as far as like
Yeah, yeah.
loud loud colors, things that would draw your attention more. So
I
yeah,
think it's a number two. Like the picture number two is the late 70s. You're
okay.
right. If you scroll down, it's what's his name? Jim Morrison.
Jim Morrison, yeah, okay.
That's a more like wild, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Freedom of self-expression.
yeah. That was the like into the 60s and definitely into the 70s at that point. So
Did he pass away, by the way? I think
yeah,
he died young, right?
he was like I think he was 27 if I
Yeah,
remember.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there's this thing going around where there's several rock stars or famous singers died at the age of 27, and I think he
Yeah,
was so.
yeah, he's one of them. Yeah, I remember. Okay, well, that's the 60s right there. And look at the 1970s, the Arnold, I can't even say, I always have problems. Schwarzenegger. Can I say
Schwarzenegger,
Schwarzenegger?
Schwarzenegger, yes.
Um, to be honest with you, this is too much for me. This is too much muscle.
Too much.
Um, but I don't know. I mean, I guess some girls like it, but that was just the era of pumping iron, as they say.
Yeah, he wasn't really the thing is he was not well known during the 70s. In fact, he didn't get well known until the 80s. That's kind of interesting that they use him as a reference because he was in movies, but he wasn't very well known yet. He didn't it wasn't until like the early 80s that he became a well-known person.
I
So
actually think I agree with you. I think 1970s was more like a hippie look. Do you remember? It was more like long hair with beer, and that doesn't really. It wasn't really about being athletic, was it? There was actually mustache. Did you think in 1970s it was more like that?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think you're right because the trend was more for men to have longer hair at that point, to not and let's see.
And beer and then also like mustache, because I think
Mhm.
mustache came back in 1970s and 1980s for
Here,
men.
here we go. I brought up a picture here. Here we go. So here's some pictures right here. That's kind of like some of these you gotta be careful because sometimes they're just costumes, they're not
Yeah, they're
realistic.
not authentic. Yeah.
So yeah, this looks like this looks like it'd be closer to what the 70s would look like. Um, that looks yeah that's depending on yeah that could be there were people that had mustaches though a lot more, so I'm surprised they didn't mention that.
Yeah, long hair, mustaches,
A lot of beards too, a
a
lot of
lot of beards too. Yeah.
so it's I've been just kind of surprised.
Sorry, Brightside. Which website is that? I have to disagree with you. On 1970s.
Yeah. There might have been some people that were pumping iron back then, but I don't think it was that prominent at that point. So, in fact, even the 1980s, we're jumping up there. It says
Yeah,
athletic
I don't
beauty.
agree with that either. Athletic beauties. I don't think 1980s it was too much about being athletic.
Um,
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
the some I think some people were. That's David Hasselhoff, by the way. So,
Yeah, yeah. The
but
from
he's
Baywatch. I
yeah,
used
he's
to watch it.
is that that looks was that the 80s? Was Baywatch during the 80s? I can't remember. I
80s until like 90s. I think
okay.
some mid 90s.
That's I thought it was the 90s. I wasn't sure. That's why I asked that question. So the
Yeah, I don't know. I think 80s like it was more like I was expecting more like wild look for 80s. Like wild hair,
uh,
just more busy
oh
look.
yeah, the
They
big hair. There you
think
go.
like jackets and like all that and like leather and things like that. But I don't know.
The like yeah the big rock style hair stuff that was going
Yeah,
on.
those ones. Very casual look. But I don't remember a lot of like sporty or athletic man standards back then.
Yeah, I don't either. Here's the Don Johnson look. Of course, Don Johnson from the 1980s. That was
Yeah,
his.
yeah.
Um,
I mean,
so
he's not too athletic. To me, he's just average.
yeah, yeah. So the interesting thing is, if you look at what they did on this article, is the 70s and the 80s both seem to be some sort of body athletic. There's pumping iron, which is related to your body, and athletic, which is also related to the body.
Yeah,
So I'm wondering why they chose those exactly. That's
maybe
interesting.
there's some truth. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe you know what I'm thinking though. I think that's where it started because the whole era of like um, looking sporty or like when you look at 1950s, 20s, or 30s back then, there weren't that much gym around. There weren't a lot of like competition in terms of like wrestlers or bodybuilders, right? So I think the bodybuilding really, if I'm not mistaken, I need to do more research on that. The popularity of that maybe started in 1970s, right? Maybe that's why.
Um.
Let me
Uh,
see.
well,
Google.
there was a lot of people that did that in the 50s and 60s as well. I think they're going overboard on that a little though when they say this. So
Should we go to the next one?
yeah, let's go to the next one.
The 1990s.
Say the grunge
I
look.
agree with that. I agree with that.
Well,
1990s haircut.
yeah, for that would be for
Kurt Cobain.
yeah, that's if you were younger at the time, yeah, I could say that. Yeah. So let's see. The metrosexual millennium, excuse me, for 2000s. Um,
What does that even mean? I didn't get that part.
the metrosexual.
It's like
Is it?
a perfect man. Is that what it means?
I know it's there's a I hold on a second. Yeah, let me just use a definition. I've heard it explained before. I just don't remember exactly what it means. I've heard it used so many times I don't even think about it anymore. Hold on a second. Let's see. Let me. Okay, here we go. This is the. This is the. Here we go. A usual urban heterosexual male given to enhancing his personal appearance by, what is that word? Fastidious grooming, beauty treatments, and fashionable clothes. Yeah, that's what I remember about the clothing.
Fashionable clothes, six pack, professional haircut. I think metrosexual is referring to someone who takes care of themselves too much. Like as a man,
Right.
they're like they're just so like almost like a woman. They take care of themselves too much. They're too perfecty.
But did metrosexual, the word, did that even exist? Was that even used in the early 2000s? I don't even think it was. I thought it was later on, but maybe I'm wrong. I thought it wasn't used till
I
after.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know either, to be
So,
honest with you.
all right.
I don't know about 2010s. Careless hipsters? What does that even mean?
Oh, hipsters are people that walk around thinking that they're cool. They usually wear glasses that aren't real glasses. That
Oh yeah,
really.
actually no, I agree with that actually. Yeah, I remember now. I remember now. There were a lot of guys because in 2000 it was an era that was like, dating for me that time. And I remember like in 2010 and early after that, you're right. It was just like I met a few guys that the glasses was not real. The glasses were not real. I'm serious, for real.
Right.
And the jackets were like usually longer than themselves. Like it was just they didn't even care.
That that's almost like the jacket almost kind of is reminiscent to the look of the 80s where they'd wear
Yeah,
a business like a sport jacket with a t-shirt underneath, kind of a thing. Kind of, not really, but similar. So,
yeah. And now we get into today and how today's image is affecting everyone. Is that true? Do you think that is this the true representations of today's male standards? Um,
um to be honest, I don't know. The when they say today, how far is that? I mean, I've seen superheroes. They like Aquaman would come to him. I can't remember the actor who plays Aquaman. He looks kind of like that. I've never seen the movies, but I've seen. I know he's the actor. He's been in other things. He kind of looks like that kind of physique. But he's been around. He's been wearing his hair like that and dressing like having that kind of physique and all that since for like 15 years. He's been around for a long time. I can't remember.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I don't know how I feel about the hair. I mean, the hair is not really a trend, to be honest with you, because long hair it depends. And the beard, I agree about the beard because it's a trend. I see even my brother grow beard for some reason in the past few years, and it says, "Oh, because everybody does." Um, and the athletic image too. Men are going to gym all the time. I think, unfortunately or fortunately, this is the image of pressure that the male society today are facing to look perfect like Aquaman. You said it perfect.
Mhm. And I, I, yeah, I don't, I'm not, I can't honestly. I don't pay attention enough to modern things. I've been looking using my own style for a while, so for a while I let my beard grow to be a foot long, and it looked kind of grotesque, so I trimmed it down to an average length. So as far as looking like this, well, I don't have the physique, that's for sure. So, but and I'm lacking a little bit of hair on top to be able to have a full head of hair like that anymore. But the maybe if I was, I mean, I could not see myself looking like that per se, but I don't think a lot of men look like that either. I don't know. Maybe this is just the person's because it seems like they're throwing in their own opinion. Whoever wrote the article. Let me see. Who wrote the article? I'm trying to find. Give me a
I
second.
think it's not a lot of men, they don't look like that, but I think it's expectations a lot of men to look like that. That's what the media is pushing. That's what I'm getting at. And to be honest with you, I don't even like that image. I mean, whoever I'm not saying that anything is wrong with being athletic or too much, but I just feel like from me, I talked about that the other day as well. Looks are not that important. For me is how much an intelligence the person is and how much they can carry the conversation. Um, and it's kind of like because looks for me it just fades it away.
Hmm. That's right. That's as far as what you're saying, that's a really nice sentiment there. When I used to go on dating services more, I think women were very shallow. I think they don't. A lot of women see, at least that's I haven't done it in a while, but they seem to come across as very, very shallow as to what they want, and they're if they see some guy that doesn't fit them, what they would perceive as would be desirable, they would probably just pass by them and say, "I don't really care." They wouldn't even go by that. I know some women like you're saying, or like you, like they look at the person for who they are rather than what they look like. But unfortunately, I think the expectation aspect comes into play where they see something and they want the person to look a certain way. That goes for a lot for men for sure, but I think women do that a lot as well. So
Oh, for sure. I think everybody does that constantly, especially for the first impression. But in terms of what I want to conclude is, um, because in the past episodes we talked about how much pressure the women have in social media and with the whole um, era of makeup, plastic surgeries, and things like that. I feel like it's both. It's also men as well, and men they have issues in different way. Yes, you do need to look certain ways, but I think not only that, from men, it's also how much money do you have, how much success you have um, developed in your career, and there's a different area that is also putting pressure on. So I think they both are under pressure. That's what I have to conclude, and in
yeah.
different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, and to get to the main focus, you said the media, how the media influences everybody. So I think the media does influence that, and the men and women want something that they see in the media first. But then I do agree that there are women like how you described it, that more often than men would actually look at beyond the physical appearance than a man would.
Mhm.
Man is more likely to look at a woman's physical appearance first, then look at the woman on the inside afterwards. Where a woman would may there's more of a chance, not fully, but more of a chance that a woman would look at the man inside first, than the one he looks like on the outside. So
I agree with you. Actually, I agree. Um, I don't know why, but I mean, I guess because I don't know. I don't know how the answer for that. I mean, personally, for me, maybe because um, again, if I'm looking at someone and they don't have any like the beauty standards of what the society, they don't have the hair, they don't have the body, they don't have the look, or whatever you want to call it. But if their confidence, they come very confident, they're very knowledgeable, they know how to carry a conversation, they make you feel good, then I want to be with that person than someone who looks like I'm sorry, the superhero of whatever, but
Mhm.
they don't have any of those qualities. And I think for women is the survival and emotions. Speaking as a woman, we love to be pampered. We love to be um, we don't like to be alone. I'm talking about the majority of women, and we love families and things like that. And so maturity, when you come to a certain age, becomes more important than looks.
Hmm.
It's about how you make a woman feel rather than how you want to look good in front of the woman. I think
Uh,
that's the
I
reason.
that I must be missing the wrong women then, because I always seem to find the women that are very shallow. Unfortunately, they.
Oh, we all have encountered shallow people in your life. I'm pretty sure.
I've experienced that within the past month. I think I told you off our show of my situation. So, but yeah, it gets frustrating after a while. So, here's the other article. Did you want to touch on this one as well?
I think it's pretty much the same thing that the men also have this, as you can see those images on Hollywood, have those standards to look up to, and just showing different kinds of images. That is, you see Brad Pitt here. I think what is this in the Fight Club?
It looks like it. Yeah. I've seen the movie. I like Fight Club. It's I'm not. It's I don't. Have you ever seen Fight Club?
Yeah, I seen Fight Club, and
Okay.
The reason that I'm saying is Fight Club is very relevant to that. Is the whole story behind it, wasn't it? The Brad Pitt was an imaginary, because the guy was schizophrenic, I think, if I'm not mistaken, imaginary um, side of the person who was an average looking. So the main character was average looking, but when
Mhm.
he used to go to this fight club and fight other people who would turn like him, like he
Right.
would come. So his confidence was determined based on this body look, but he was not actually look like that.
Right. Right. Yeah, and yeah, it was his alter ego, so to speak, I guess
Yeah,
you could say. So yeah, one second, I'm bringing that up right now. Here's Fight Club. Yeah, this is the IMDb. Yeah, Edward Norton. Yeah, Edward Norton it definitely has that kind of average look to
yeah,
him. So,
yeah.
and he did a very excellent job in that movie. And yeah, and Tyler Durden was the more, muscular type, almost kind of muscular, not really fully, but more, the sexual, I guess, the sexual look that, and when he was when Edward Norton was on, he portrayed the more of I guess more of a nerdy kind of a look, kind of sometimes,
Mhm.
an average look. So yeah, and this is when he was, yeah, the character, this is how he saw himself, and that's what he was seeing in his mind. He was seeing this other Tyler Durden character that was the tough guy, the macho guy, I guess you could say. So
Yeah, I think that's just kind of like also shows how being confident. In order for you to feel confidence, you have to have body. You have to have that body, right? Um, Even in the movie itself.
mhm. Yeah, well, in the movie, his physique, Edward Norton's physique, I don't.
He was very average. He was
Yeah, very
very.
average. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, you're right. And what's his name? I can't remember the actor's name. There's Brad Pitt. I couldn't remember Brad Pitt. Yeah, Brad Pitt definitely has that, that kind of, I guess, the muscular look there. Kind of. The workout physique, I guess, is the way of describing it. So.
You know what the problem is, though? No one really talks about how much Brad Pitt suffered to have this body. Sometimes I watch the interviews. Some of them, they go to a 6 months diet. They have to drink, I think, 2 liters of water every day. The workout that they do is extremely, extremely hard to be able to look like this. They have like a specific personal trainer for this purpose. Um, and also the movie lightings and things like that too, right? Editing, and so it's not really realistic. Like, how many of our men, being a busy professional or whatever you want to call it, have time in a day to go and work out extremely and be on a very extreme diet? How many do we? But today's social media is making it very, like, it's normal. You look at so many movies,
Mhm.
men are also successful. They
Right.
have this killing body, and they have all these, for some reason, they have all these executive jobs out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And you look at their house, it's somewhere in New York, which probably the rent or whatever is just so much, like a penthouse, and it's like normal job. And the guy is what? Um, the doing something really normal, but it has this huge house in New York, has this like unimaginary body. It's too much. It's too unrealistic.
And how about this one right here? I brought up with Wolverine here. Now this one is completely unbelievable. Obviously, I mean, obviously exclude the things protruding out of his knuckles there, the blades. I'm talking about the actual, his physique. Obviously, there's a lot of computer generation on that, computer generated imagery on his body. He doesn't, the actor doesn't really look like that. So.
But even if for him, I think he had to go to the extreme diet.
Oh yeah, well I'm sure. Yeah, yeah, but they also, I'm sure there's a lot of enhancements. That is what I'm meaning.
Oh, for sure, for
It,
sure.
digital enhancements, video enhancements, just to get them to look that way. So, um, yeah, and I think a lot of people know this is not real, though. I mean, this this is completely unobtainable as far as I can see.
I
So
wonder if we can actually see the Hugh Jackman, the actor's real body, like in like somewhere in the beach, and he's like just
oh,
hanging out.
Hugh Jackman's is
Yeah,
real body. Okay, let me see. Yeah.
like just like a regular like guy hanging out with kids Sunday,
Okay.
going shopping.
Okay, let me see if I can bring that up here. Give me a
Come on,
second.
don't be perfect. Don't be perfect.
Let's see. How should what's the word I should put? Casual, maybe?
Gain weight.
There we go. Here I put Hugh Jackman casual as a search. Let me see.
Okay, no, he's still got it.
Yeah.
Still got it.
Yeah.
No, we can't see anything.
That's
Is
not
it?
him. I don't
You
think that's him.
see?
Is that him? Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, he's got a good physique there. He really does. He's got a really so I was wow. Yeah, he's got the physique there, that's for sure. So
yeah, he's got the physique.
but yeah, you can tell that image over here, that's definitely modified some. So it's not, yeah, but still. Um, but yeah, is this the one you said where they put him on the workout for 6 months, or is that the other one? That was Brad Pitt. You
No,
said
all of them.
all of them. Oh,
All of
okay.
them. Like I see like some of the interviews I see, they have to go through like um, extreme diet and workout plan.
Hmm. The when I was I think I told you I weighed back in 2012. I weighed 225 pounds. So people said I was getting kind of plump looking, and then I had to go on a special diet without even trying. I went back down to my high school weight. I'm back down to like 145 now. So
Yeah. I think it's all about diet, to be honest with you. I mean, workout does matter, but if you're not having your diet, it's just nothing's gonna happen.
right. And before I did that, I would eat candy all the time. Like I'd big bags of candy. And people would say, "How can you eat all that candy all the time? You don't put on any weight." And eventually it caught up with me. So
Oh yeah, I have a sweet tooth as well.
I
So
used, I used to buy big pound bags of M&Ms and eat them. So
oh, I'm craving for that right now.
there's a Rocky Horror Picture Show. Have you ever seen this movie?
Yeah, I
Okay, yeah.
remember I was a kid, and every time I used to go to anyone's house, they were playing that because back then there was no internet, there was no like cables, like live cables or something like that.
Uh,
So it's specific in Iran because I was a kid in Iran, obviously, and in Iran, what are those old like tape? What do they call
VHS,
it? Yeah, they put
VHS,
it in the video, and
and Beta.
yeah, there was one of them, and then there was like we played the same movie every time used to go to my aunt's house, uncle's house. Everybody was playing this movie.
Oh, really? Wow, that's interesting. When I was during the when I was a teenager, the movie had not been released on video. You could only see it at the theater. So I used to I went to the movie 40 times. I was a big fan of the movie, and then they finally released it on TV on video, and then people were like that's going to ruin the movie because it's not meant to be seen. You're only supposed to see it in a theater because for a long time they refused to release it on video. They finally did, and because the movie is perceived as being, I don't know if you've been to the theater, it's meant to be a participation movie by a lot of people. And so like you have to, when you go to the theater, you actually say things while the movie's going on. The crowd will actually participate in the movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh
So
wow! I've never been to the participation movie.
yeah, there's still some theaters that show it. They're not as many, but yeah, if you go in there, you'll see everybody who goes there knows the lines. There's certain lines you're supposed to say when the movie's going on, and you throw things out at when like there's certain there's a scene in the movie where one of the characters says "Great Scott," and you're supposed to throw a roll of toilet paper in the air, so everyone throws
Oh
toilet.
really? I
Yeah,
would be so interested to go and watch. I want to watch Rocky again. I think I haven't watched it for a long time, actually.
Rocky, the You mean this movie?
Oh, was this not Rocky?
No, this is Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, okay. It's so small. That's why I can see it.
Oh, okay.
I thought you said Rocky.
Oh, let's see. Here's
Can you make it like bigger?
unfortunately,
Let
maybe
me
I can.
see if I can.
Let me see. I can bring up you know what I can do here? I can bring it up on another one here. We can see.
Oh no, I can make it bigger. Let me just see.
Okay. It's sorry, let me see if I can hold on, I'm trying to find my mouse now. Okay, here's my mouse. It disappeared, sorry. Where's the view? Sorry, zoom it. Okay. Okay, here we go. Is it making it bigger? No, it's not. No, it's just making the text bigger. Sorry.
No, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it now. I'm looking at it.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, the movie came out in 1975.
Okay, no, that's not the same. Let me see. Let me search.
There you go. Here's another picture right here. Here's another one. So that's Rocky on the right, Rocky Horror. This is Dr. Frankenfurter. That's what's her name? She's a famous actress. I can't remember her name now.
Oh yeah, I know which is Susan something.
Susan Sarandon. Yes, Susan Sarandon. And then Dr. Frankenfurter is played by Tim Curry. He's another famous actor. So
you know which one I was talking about?
You're talking about Rocky with Sylvester Stallone?
Yes. That's yeah, and that was that's 19. I wasn't born then yet.
well, neither one. Rocky was made. The original Rocky came out in the 70s as well, so you weren't born for that one either. So
no, you know why though? Because in Iran, we don't in the movie theater they don't show the foreign movies.
Oh, okay.
Because, especially back then, they would only show domestic because of like the restrictions they have. Because it's like an Islamic country, right? So you're not supposed to see like images that are, not within the law of like that country.
Oh,
so
I see.
We can only see those in tapes, like movie tapes. And then most of the movies were not like new because they were like back in like maybe years ago. so you would go like in back in day, I would have like Arnold movies, like Rocky movies, and everybody would just play those movies over and over again.
Oh, okay. And so the movie you saw was Rocky, not Rocky Horror Picture Show then?
No, I'm actually gonna go check that out. I never watched this movie.
Yeah, this one is something you'd rather. It's better to see in a theater than, like I say, than actually watching on a TV, because it's the audience participation stuff. That's what makes the movie more entertaining, is because the crowd actually interacts with the movie while it goes on. So if you watch the movie by itself, it's going to be kind of weird. But if you can watch it. There's a musical. It's got some catchy songs to it. But it's different.
That's interesting.
What was the other movie? Was there another one? Oh, which one's this? Real Men's? I'm not sure what that is.
I think it's just a picture, right?
I guess. Okay, I was just curious if any other. Oh, there's something else right here. I'm sure this Price of Perfection. No, I guess it's it. Okay, yeah, just a bunch of comments. We'll skip those. Okay. Oh, yeah, what was that? Oh, this is the guy who's on the thing here. Okay.
Side plank.
What did you say? Side what?
Side plank. He's doing a side plank.
Is that what it's called? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's for me. But yeah, I guess that's just look at the six packs. That's what the image is that some media are showing as a stand. Like, I guess like this is what's supposed to be a good looking man, apparently. But I don't agree with that.
Let me see. I got to see this. I'm going to bring that up because I've never heard that before. Is that it right there? Side plank like that? Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I could do that. I'm a little out of shape. I'd have to get into shape before I'd attempt to do anything like that. So yeah, my body's a little ragged out right now. So all righty. Well, do you want to go back to our question? Let's take a look what we kind of
Sure.
respond. All right, let me bring this up here. Not too many responses yet. Here we go. Only one comment so far. We got 68 votes so far, and wow, overwhelmingly 90% saying that the Hollywood or the media is setting up an unrealistic expectations for men's physical appearances. That's interesting. 1% with only somewhat, 3% with not at all, and 6% with a they'd rather leave a comment. And Brandon P, who's a regular comment, says he'd just rather leave a comment. So okay, well that's interesting. So we can come back to that one next week to see what kind of response. I have a feeling that the percentage is going to stay pretty high. So I say very much it's going to stay. It's going to be very high next week as well. I don't think it's going to change very much. What do you think?
Yeah, I think very much is the answer. Mostly of most of the audience, if they feel that way, I think that would be the same.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All righty. Well, did you want to add anything else? We can go ahead and wrap everything up unless you had something else you wanted to add.
I think that's about it. It's just I wish that it wasn't that much pressure in men as well, because obviously there are, as I was saying earlier, there are other things that they need to also look up to in terms of career, money, success. So none of the gender has it easy. At the
No.
end of the day, no one is better. No one has more relaxed lifestyle or beauty standards or expectations. I guess at the end of the day, it's just what I would say is to be kind to each other and be realistic and see people for who they are rather than just the physical appearances. That's the only thing I can add.
Okay. Yeah. It'd be nice if that would be possible. Unfortunately, I don't. I don't think it's going to be possible to convince everyone of that.
Oh, for sure.
It'd be nice if somehow we could actually say, let's look at people on the inside. Now, did you ever see a movie that bring that up? It's called Shallow Hal. Did you ever see that movie?
Shallow how? I don't know. No, I haven't.
I'll bring that up for you so you can see it. That kind of addresses that kind of issue. I'll give you the synopsis. Shallow Hal. Here it is. Came out 10 years ago. 20 years ago. Excuse me. Here, Jack Black and Gwyneth Paltrow. Is it Gwyneth Paltrow? Yeah, Gwyneth Paltrow. I brought it up on the screen here. Basically, Shallow Hal, Jack Black, he called him that because he only likes to date women that look a certain way. And what happens is he's put under a spell, and so what he sees is when he looks at a woman, he only sees their inner beauty after that, and he doesn't see what they actually look like.
Oh,
So he
that's
ends up
so cool. What was the name again?
Shallow Hal. And so here's it came out in 2001, so it's 20 years old this year. He only sees their inner beauty, and what happens is he falls in love with a woman who's very much overweight, and someone he would not normally be attracted to because he sees her for her inner beauty rather than that. It's a comedy. I thought it was a good movie. I like the movie. Some people might think it's a little insulting because they make some references to people who are overweight that are not too nice, but there's a couple of like fat jokes in there that are not too nice. But
Did the actor actually gain a lot of weight, or was it just I think a makeup?
no, that she just put something on. She just put it's like a bodysuit. It's a bodysuit.
Wow.
She didn't put on that
So
right.
different.
Yeah. And this is interesting. Gwyneth Paltrow, she said when she put that bodysuit on, she said she was ignored by a lot of people when she went into like a public area. Like people would not even want to talk to her at all. Whereas when she looked like her normal self, people were much more friendly and open to her.
Well, that's so sad. That's just so sad. Because
So,
even like not every person you see you want to date. Like, okay, if you just interacting with person. So I don't understand why if someone is overweight and just having a normal conversation with you would be any difference than someone is even less overweight.
mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Do you understand?
Yeah, unfortunately it's the whole shallow aspect. People they just want to like we discussed. Yeah, unfortunately it'd be nice if people looked on the inside, but they don't. And there's no way to there's really no way to change that I can think of. I mean, I can't think of any way to change that. It's maybe
Yeah.
we could try to bring attention to it, but still, when it's all said and done, people are just going to look at what they want to look at, and they're not going to care so much. Here's did I bring the movie up? Here it is. I forgot if I didn't bring it up before. I apologize. Here it is, right here. So.
Oh, I saw it. I was just looking at it. Yeah.
Okay.
It was just very interesting. I'm gonna go watch it.
Okay. Yeah, I liked the movie. My sister, and I'm not going to mention too much here, but my sister, who is overweight a little, did not like the movie. So she thought it was, but I don't know if she saw the whole movie. She might have just didn't like the previews for it, maybe. So I don't know. So, but anyway, I would recommend the movie. I think it's a good movie. So, all right.
I should go check out. I have 2 movies for today added to my list.
What's the other movie?
The Rocky.
The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
Rocky
this one and Shallow Hall. These 2 I'm gonna go watch.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know about them, so it's cool.
Yeah. I saw Shallow Hall shortly after it came out. So anyway, it's you could watch it and you can give your opinion on it if maybe next time you see it or something.
Oh yeah, for sure. Okay. That would be really interesting. I'm excited now. I have something to watch in the weekend.
Oh, okay.
I was gonna actually watch the James Bond series.
What's it called?
There's like a series of James Bonds. I have like the DVD of that.
Oh, James Bond. Okay, I didn't hear what you said.
Okay. So maybe I'll check these out.
Who's your favorite James Bond?
Sorry? Who was my favorite?
Yeah, Sean Connery. There's a lot of them now. I can't remember. Sean Connery always comes to mind first.
Sean Connery was good, but I think for me was the one I forgot his name. I can't believe I forgot his name.
Roger
Dark
Moore.
Hair.
From the 80s, I bet, right?
Yeah, he was from 80s, 90s. Character. Definitely not Daniel Craig. I mean, nothing against him, but it was just.
Was
it? This guy.
Remington Steele.
Pierce Brosnan.
Pierce Brosnan. Yeah.
Yeah, Brosnan. He's my favorite. He's my favorite James Bond. I need to learn his name if it's my favorite.
He was in a TV show. He was in a TV show called Remington Steele. Do you remember?
I remember that? with the partner, right? The girl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And when they announced he was going to be James Bond, I thought it'd be pretty cool. But when he actually did the part, he wasn't like I thought he was going to be more carefree and more friendly. But he wasn't. I didn't like his portrayal of James Bond.
Oh, really?
I liked him as Remington Steele. I thought it was very likable. But when he did James Bond, I didn't really like it as much. So.
What is your favorite?
I thought I thought Roger Moore was okay. A lot of people don't seem to like him, and Sean Connery's pretty cool. So those are probably
Rogers. Oh, James Bond Rogers. Okay, I'm learning so much from you today. Oh, there's another one. Okay, I go see this one too. Okay.
I'm a plethora of information for you today. So
that's awesome. Yeah, give me all those information so I can go. We can talk about that next time.
Okay, sounds good. Alrighty. Well, thanks for everybody for being on, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.